Hello, beautiful friends, on this very powerful day of the solar eclipse that many of you got to witness if you were on the path of totality or even outside of the path of totality. Here in California, it was something between 50% and 20%, depending on your location. And so we know that this is a very, very powerful kind of like a new beginning and the end of the old. This marks a new beginning. In 2017 was a very much the same event, but of course it never is exactly the same, but it was a solar eclipse that moved from Oregon across the United States. And again, it was a total solar eclipse. And that night for me was life-changing. That's the night when the cosmic Mother Nature appeared in a form. And she first came, I'm going to repeat this, you've heard it again and again. I don't know if we have any new people on this call specifically, but it is important to acknowledge what these portals in the cosmic system of nature can actually cause. And so it was the revelation of the mother, the return of the mother. Again, many people around the world had a very exactly the same experience or similar experience. The mother suddenly became visible to them. And I say, even if she was not visible to you, I'm sure she visited anyway, because it's always a collective experience. And so that night, I was able to, for the first time, have what, the yogis call the darshan of the mother. It was not something I was asking for. It just happened as a result of the solar eclipse and just simply working with invocations. And so today we will also be working with some invocations. And even though the solar eclipse already passed through this path of across the United States, the energy, of course, is still here. And it was very strong during the eclipse, wasn't it? It was like incredibly, incredibly strong, especially in the pineal gland. And so that night, it was my first darshan with the mother, but then it just kept giving. It just kept going and going and going. And she started to appear in all her forms that you could possibly imagine. The next morning, she was standing by the bed as the Pallas Athena, teaching about sacred geometry. As soon as I opened the master bathroom door, in the mirror, there was this green being, hovering above the head, the green Tara, and it just went on and on. And so that alone, makes it really special, I think, for all of us to know that something like this might be the possibility for us tonight. And so a lot has actually happened already since this morning. So we had close to 500 people on the call, and really the number doesn't matter so much, but it's about the focus. And I want to say that, every opportunity we have to add our light, as you know, and our consciousness to some collective activity, we can truly empower that and make it even more powerful. So I think the intensity that we experienced during the eclipse, it was really felt. And so here again, we will be working with these new energies that have unfolded, but also I will share a little bit of, the stories that I shared before on the call. So as you can tell, solar eclipse by itself is not all that rare, of course. We have solar eclipses about every 18 months. The solar eclipse always happens on a new moon, so that the moon can be exactly in the position to cover the sun. Either it covers the sun completely, or there is the ring of fire around the sun. And so, the solar eclipse is not a very, very exceptionally rare occurrence, but it always is important to us energetically. What is rare, though, about this solar eclipse is the fact that we did have exactly the same total solar eclipse in 2017 across the United States. So that means that the two paths of totality, where the sun is covered by the moon, is actually creating a cross, or created a cross today. And what is so interesting about this cross, what I found, is that it crosses in one very specific town in southern Illinois. So here is zooming in, and this town is called Carbondale. Now, if you are like me, you look in, hidden meaning and all these coded things. And so the fact that our physical bodies are moving from the carbon-based body to actually crystalline light body is pretty interesting, that an X would be marked exactly in Carbondale. So I had the urge after we returned from Sedona to actually go to Carbondale and to do some work on the planet. And specifically, there is a lake called Cedar Lake. And so Ara and Emmy from our group, they generously offered to come as well. It's always more fun to do everything in a Holy Trinity or more. And so we ended up going to actually several places in Illinois. And one of them was the X place. And in the X, in the Cedar Lake, it was happening exactly on the little beach on the shore. In Carbondale, we created a beautiful water ceremony on behalf of all of us. And we worked with the sacred waters of Patricia Cota Robles that she blessed the world with. And so we wanted to make sure that all energies are prepared for the highest, most amazing outcome for the solar eclipse to bring to Mother Earth and humanity, of course. This is very important, you know, not all is light and love. And maybe some of you have experiences that are not all light and love, especially when we work with energies. And so it's really important to actually not be naive and to also know that sometimes certain moments in time like these can be hijacked by other forces. And I think that's something that I felt recently very actually intensely. And so it's also, I don't want to go into the detail of it, of course, but I just want to say, no matter what happens, no matter what forces come, just always use the following kind of, I would say, approach. I am spirit. It is really important to know that spirit is always victorious. Spirit as the father, spirit as the mother. I am a child of spirit. And when we love spirit because we are of spirit, then spirit is always victorious. And so it is. So that's the way that I approach it. Of course, you know, just because there is a battle, it doesn't mean that one has to have fear. Fear actually is never a good approach, but fearlessness and divine confidence is a very good approach. And so that was really actually the idea behind going to Carbondale, is to make sure that all is clean and clear for this incredible celestial moment. So I'm going to share a little bit. And again, let us know in the chat if you got to witness. I actually was not reading all the things in the chat, but let us know if you experienced the total eclipse today and what it felt like. For me, even though it was not totally here, I was sitting outside at Mount Shasta when we did our first call. And even my husband, who was just, you know, walking the land and being outside, said that you didn't even have to, like, you know, think too much about it. It was so obvious what's happening, and it was just the energy was so intense. And so wonderful. Yes, the only winner in this game is always the spirit, and so that's really important to know. We just have to know how to operate within all these different energies. And so all is about the cosmic mother nature in all things, and that one big cosmic body of the divine mother as the creator. Actually, there is a wonderful Gnostic book, and I actually didn't read the book, but I assume it's wonderful, and I do have it on my bookshelf. I like to have books on the bookshelf without reading them, just for the energy. But it is called Not in His Image. And I found it so fascinating. In the Gnostic tradition, of course, the creator is Sophia, is the mother. And so we are created not in his image, but in her image. And so just having that kind of notion that the creator doesn't have to be just what people call the Heavenly Father, but also that we do have a mother, and this is the time for her return. I always like to go back to the wonderful stories of Yogananda. And if you know the end of Yogananda's life, he obviously united with Divine Mother and Divine Father completely. He experienced the complete samadhi, the absorption into oneness with the divine, where, you know, he dissolves. So complete just oneness with. And this is the highest state of being for the human being, when there is no longer a human being. It is just absorption into the absolute. And then from that absolute, his body obviously was still here when he was here. And then one day, his disciples, his closest disciples, were still around him. And Divine Mother came as Kali, and she started to speak to Yogananda through Yogananda. And so the body was expressing both voices. and it was expressing both the mother and both Yogananda. And his disciples said he sounded like a little child. And then the mother would come on and she had a few things to say about this world. But this was in like 1950s. And so apparently it was not so nice, all the things she said about this world. And that's why we hear. We hear so that we can convince the mother that actually we can be loving, friendly, and that we can be peaceful and get along and love each other. Because pretty much that, I would say, is the vision of Divine Mother, that everybody simply can be themselves and at the same time get along. And so the mother is the one that moves all stars, all universes, all cosmos with her nature. Her nature is the uttermost intelligent force in creation, of course. And if human beings could simply, and not just human beings, we've had, other beings in this cosmos, attune back to the intelligence of nature, then everybody would thrive. So thriving is a result of going with the flow of the mother, going with the flow of what we also know from the Taoist tradition as the Tao. Again, if you want to read a great book that I would call personally better than the Bible for sure, then it's the Tao Te Ching. And the Tao Te Ching, translated by Stephen Mitchell specifically. I've seen many different translations, and I cannot recommend any except personally the one translated by Stephen Mitchell. Because when things get lost in translation, they get lost in translation, just because the original is the same. And then when you have many people translating the same thing, you can end up with completely different versions of things that maybe don't make sense. Stephen Mitchell is a great mystic who meditated himself into the understanding of the Tao. And so going with the flow of the Tao means going with the flow of the Great Mother. I was in Los Angeles a few weeks ago, meditating with Yogananda at his, not his hermitage, but actually his, they call it the crypt, where his physical body is, in Forest Lawn in Glendale. And I stayed for a few days. And as I was, just in my hotel room and I was meditating, I was listening to Orin actually, then suddenly I heard that this is the return of the ancient mother. And not often do I refer to her as the ancient mother, but I know that there is a song, Ancient Mother. And so it's definitely the ancient mother, the ancient mother returning. That's really important to know. Since 2017, when this encounter for me actually occurred with the mother, I've been receiving information. I also want to say something about translation. So when you receive information, for example, you might just get one little puzzle piece. And it's good to just look at the puzzle piece and you say, this is the puzzle piece, and it just maybe doesn't make any sense, but this is what it is. It just is. It's good to just collect it and maybe not try to explain it with the human kind of logic, which might be lost and then lost in translation. So the puzzle pieces might not even seem very profound. Maybe Divine Mother said one day, I will stretch all the systems in this world, and that which is not flexible will snap. So I can bring that as a puzzle piece that she said. And I remember when she said it actually in 2021. And so I'm not going to try to, come up with some kind of fluff around it, but that's exactly how it is. Because again, when we start translating the puzzle pieces, we might lose the original meaning. And it happens very often in this world. And so since 2017, she spoke quite extensively about all the things that will have to actually change. And it is the nature, the forces within nature that are always employed to create the change, such as a solar eclipse. To me, the solar eclipse truly marks a new beginning and maybe just the very initial stage of a new civilization. Now, this will be important to all of us because we are, according to the mother, again, a puzzle piece, the architects of a new reality. And so think of yourself every day, not as someone who describes the old, but someone who is here to be the architect of the new. This is exactly where our imagination, where our ability to fantasize comes into place, and it is actually essential and important. As architects of a new world, we absolutely have to dig deep and high into our imagination, the ability to imagine the new, not based on the old. And so we want to differentiate where imagination is appropriate and where it might be actually misleading. So it's definitely wonderful to constantly imagine new worlds, new possibilities, new ways of being, instead of bringing the puzzle pieces, for example, from these divine beings, and then kind of creating a fairy tale around it. That's not very useful, and it's misleading. So I always say we want to be very factual, but at the same time have incredible imagination when it comes to the new that we are creating. Kind of like, I always call it that we are detectives. Here is our evidence, and then let's put those puzzle pieces together to be able to understand what's really going on. So the other puzzle piece that came from Divine Mother was the mystery of, and maybe not mystery to you, to me it was something completely new. I'm not a grid worker, or at least I didn't think of myself as a grid worker until 2020 when Divine Mother came, 2017 when Divine Mother came. And so originally the work with Divine Mother for me was very personal. It was just happening, for this person here and through this person here. And I was just writing everything down. But in 2020, there was a big breakthrough. It was obviously a planetary experience here for all of us. And Divine Mother wanted that we gather as a collective. And I think we've succeeded incredibly to create a very coherent, wonderful, loving, supportive collective. And I know that we all see this collective when we have some in-person events, which I highly recommend to everyone to participate in. Some of them, one of them, all of them, because the collective is really what this is all about. The way that the Green Tara group exists and moves forward is not through some kind of one person as a leadership, but actually it's a collective endeavor of love. And we are moving into this creation of the new civilization. And one of the pieces, again, puzzle pieces that I received from Divine Mother, I was actually asking her. It had to do with, certain things that are happening on planet Earth that we would call politics. And whether, we should be affirming this or that about, the political leadership, if we can call it that, on this planet. And so she mentions that if there will be a leadership, and of course there will be a leadership, because leadership is important for the new earth, then it will be all under one love, not under one law that the humans will create, not under one constitutions that humans will come up with, but actually under one love. And I really enjoyed that puzzle piece. Another one, again, was the planetary grid. So in 2020, our divine self that we also refer to, of course, rightly so, I am present. And the reason for that is that when our physical body actually experiences what I would even call ascension, and yet we are here still in this world, but it means that all our systems have ascended to a higher level of functioning. Then we are able to reconnect our physical spine with our astral spine and then with our causal spine. It's like a chimney that leads all the way to source, where we can then have really what we would call personal contact with the absolute. And this personal contact with the absolute allows us to really get to know thyself. And when it happens, the physical body itself obviously has a voice, has a beautiful vehicle for expression. And so we, without any sense of control or even intention, suddenly start speaking. So you would say people these days, they speak some kind of light languages and they say it comes spontaneously, maybe. And what really is a spontaneous expression of the divine self through language is when suddenly the body starts speaking, I am. I am, I am that I am. And I invite you to state it with me as we step into this sharing here and these beautiful practices we will be sharing. and that is I am that I am. I recommend affirming it all day long, as opposed to thinking about the world, the life, the family, the conditions. It is always better to be in the I am. And so it's very safe to state, I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. It actually rewires the old person, and it instantaneously connects us with the 12th level of our being, which for us is our 12th chakra, at which we are one with the absolute and with our God self. The God self has a very specific purpose right now more than ever again. And I want to say again, because, we had the original design, then we had the broken design, and now we are recovering from broken design, and we are going into the, again, old, ancient, but also the new design of the divine human being that is through the spine. Some people call it the Antakarana, some people call it the rainbow bridge. It's simply as that when our chimney, this pillar of light, is reconnected, which is happening to all of us, through all of us, very, very strongly, specifically for this collective since 2020, more than ever before, of course. That's an intervention. So now we all have this direct access. And I would recommend to everyone to practice every day, to really cleaning up your chimney, to let go of all limitations, to rise like a feather through your own chimney, and especially through chanting. Chanting, number one, I am that I am, and then, of course, Om. These two work like magic. Moving through the spine, breathing through the spine, cleansing your system. You can do it laying down or sitting upright. You can also do it while you are walking, of course, paying attention to who you are. But I find, why do things that might not really deliver results really quickly? Right now, connecting with your divine self, your I am presence, this way is very, very easy and quick. And of course, the answers that just keep coming, and the knowledge and the energy is incredible. And so through the spine, we are then able to even go to what Patricia calls the realm of illuminated truth. To me, I call these the solar worlds that are coded with the number 333. It is, for some reason, important to know these things, maybe, because a lot of people are seeing these different codes. And so this world, this planet, is coded with the number 33. We do have 33 vertebrae within us. And so our physical structure is actually a reflection of the earth. And so the earth herself very often is also referred to as the mothership 33. All these things, they are available to us in these higher realms to know. And so I think a lot of us are tapping into these libraries where this information is. But also because we are beings that have now, again, access to these illuminated realms of truth, the solar worlds, then we can activate our spine to reach, once again, easily into the realms of the solar worlds that are coded with 333, which is our vertebrae in these higher realms. So again, just sitting upright, chanting your arms and chanting your I am that I am is an amazing practice. It leads to great self-realization. And so going back to the planetary grid, when it's intact and healthy and interconnected, it is simply an expression of what we would call as human beings health. So a healthy planet has a healthy web of life. A healthy body has a healthy web of life. We got to know maybe this web of life around the physical body and in the physical body as the meridians and as the acupuncture points, and then as our aura. So the earth, of course, she's a living being. And just so that you know, because today is a new moon, we will be doing also as many calls as possible during this lunar cycle from new moon to full moon. And tomorrow I will be presenting all the different aspects of planetary future that were presented to us actually by Yogananda, who was able to see into the future of the earth as well. And so he spoke about the earth as a living being. And so this living being is just like you and me in the physical body, goes through a process of life and death, which of course is not ultimate, but it is the process of rebirthing. And this ascension process for the earth is a process, and this comes from really knowledge received from the mother. The earth is going right now through a process of shedding her old skin. Just like a serpent would shed skin, the earth will shed and is shedding her old skin. So she's stepping into her new luminosity. Part of this new luminosity, of course, is her planetary grid with the acupuncture points that I was able to see the other day. When we were at the Mississippi River, we stayed in St. Louis, which was the closest to where we needed to be. And it was beautiful when this planetary grid was revealed. I was able to look at it closely. And here you see each node, the acupuncture points, they are perfectly geometrically aligned. I was able to zoom in and take a look at them. Each one of them is actually a dome as the perfect structure for shimmering luminosity that is shining into all directions. It's a receiver and a transmitter. The way that I think about it is almost like if you have a power plant where you are actually, in this case, receiving and then transmitting, but also generating electricity. So that is actually firing the grid. So you see so many domes around the earth. Of course, this is non-physical, but it's visible to those of us who can see. And that is what happened today. Today was the initiation of this new planetary grid. That's a huge deal, of course, and that's why we had, the solar eclipse. In a way, you can think about it like a switch. The sun is shining, it's bright day, suddenly it's complete night. And so, all life, maybe you heard the birds silenced, and, suddenly you have the night critters, they start singing. And it truly is a quick night, right? During the eclipse for nature. So it is a reset. And it was a reset today. And reset, it's flipping the switch. So the switch has been flipped. The new will unfold in its own ways. But again, we show up and do our best and actually contribute as much as we can, of course. There is no room for selfishness in this world anymore. It's really important to know, because the new paradigm, the new civilization is actually one for all and all for one. I received this information while we were meditating in Mexico in the jungle, and we were practicing out of body travel with Arcturus. And so it was again important puzzle piece that we don't want to change in any way. I want to remember one for all and all for one, which also reminds me of when we were meeting in higher realms a while ago, and we were reading, we were actually speaking with some higher levels within the tree of life, and we were told to remember the underlying oneness of all life. And so that's all really important. And Meredith, that's such a cute picture that you posted here. It's super sweet to see little kids, being aware of these planetary and solar. That's super cute. And so the planetary grid is actually what keeps the planet healthy. And she had a broken grid. And within the broken grid, I call it the catch-22. When the grid is broken, the humans are broken. And when the grid is intact and healthy, the humans are also healthy and intact energetically and in all ways, especially in consciousness. So really, this planetary ascension has a lot to do with the planetary grid and with the health of it. And so we will be using the powerful pranava, the magical sound of Om, to call upon the great ones. As you know, we have worked with many wonderful great ones. And for the work that we do here, as strange as it may seem how Green Tara, could be matched with, Yogananda, Babaji, but actually it's at this level, there are many different groups of beings, many different lineages. Maybe if you visited higher realms or you worked in higher realms, you know that there are many different groups that actually have a different focus. And so depending on the focus, they create these groups, but it's not like that they would work against each other. They, of course, work always together as one, just having maybe different purpose, just like we have different organs in the body. And so we will be calling upon the great ones. I often speak about Yogananda as a great avatar, and I definitely would put my hand in that celestial fire for Yogananda. I saw last year for the first time, actually, I think it was last year, Shiva. And after, when you meditate a lot, all these different levels of creation open up. And so first, it was Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. It was quite incredible after Divine Mother seeing Shiva. And then one day I saw how Shiva emanated kind of like a duplicate of himself into cosmos or into this world, and it was Yogananda. And so it was almost like shape-shifting Shiva into Yogananda, and then Yogananda was birthed into being, as a direct emanation of Shiva. And then, of course, many of you have worked with Swami Kaleshwar, and that was the next step. So working with Yogananda to me is definitely, it's going back to source. And we are so lucky that he had that urgency to write so much at the end of his life, and that he wrote some really great, powerful texts that are so incredibly important, such as the second coming of Christ. So I will go now to Patricia Cota Robles, and this is a video I was told to play today after our morning call, after I did a lot of work with the spiral. And so we will go to a video that Patricia actually posted at the beginning of this year. It was her first vlog for this year. And why I wanted to play this video is because Patricia actually speaks about the great ones, the company of heaven that we together here will be invoking. So it's a good idea to bring them into our consciousness and to really connect deeply with what it is that we will be calling in. If you have been working with Patricia or with us here for a long time, then you know that on 11/11 we participated very actively in the alignment of the planetary axis. And so this was a very unbelievable and divinely, celestially successful actually activity. And so we were aligning the magnetic axis of this planet Earth. When the axis was aligned, it aligned also our own spines, our own antakarana, our own rainbow bridge, our own chimney, our own umbilical cord to be able to have access to a greater source. And for us, that source would be the grand sun. And so we are in a system of 144 planets. That's really important because we have 12 suns and 12 planets. So 12 times 12 is 144. And so very often people, have this kind of spiritual ego a little bit, thinking that they are the chosen one and that they must be one of the 144. But it's good to put it into like a very cosmic perspective about all of us are the chosen ones, if we want to say it like that, because who isn't? And so then we have 144 planets. And so now that we have access to all of these beautiful systems, today our task specifically on this call is to connect with the beings from the grand sun. And so we will be now listening to Patricia and then invoking the great ones.
A brief reminder of the various classifications of the legions of light associated with all of the systems of worlds Mother Earth abides in, including our grand central sun. The beings of light, whom I often refer to as the company of heaven, consist first and foremost of the all-encompassing presence of our omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent Father, Mother God, the cosmic I Am, all that is. This is the divine presence from which every single atomic and subatomic particle and wave of life throughout the whole of creation is birthed. It is within this body of our Father, Mother God that all life lives, moves, breathes, and has its being. The body of God is the all-encompassing divine matrix, or the unified field that science has finally recognized. All of the other beings of light are considered sons and daughters of God. These sons and daughters of God are known through all creation by various titles, depending on their level of consciousness and their selfless service to life. There are crowns, thrones, principalities, solar logos, the mighty Elohim, cosmic beings, galactic beings, archangels, seraphim, cherubim, and all graded orders of angels. There are ascended masters, the Galactic Federation of Light, and the I Am presence of every evolving son and daughter of God throughout the whole of creation. There are also those associated with the elemental kingdom. There are the directors of the elements, air, water, earth, fire, and ether, as well as the sylphs of the air, the undines of the water, the nature spirits of the earth, the salamanders of the fire, and the devas and devarajas of the ethers. All of these beings of light, including the legions of light associated with the new system of worlds we now have access to through our grand central sun, are standing in readiness, awaiting humanity's heart call and our invitation to help us during this wondrous but often tumultuous time. The assistance from these beings of light will be given to us in perfect alignment with our divine plans and the highest good of all concerned. They will never interfere with our free will by intervening in our lives without an invitation and permission from our I Am presence. The information that is being given to humanity by the beings of light in the realms of illumined truth at this time is not intended to dispute our present belief systems or to tell us that what we believe is wrong. They have all been guided by our I Am presence through the lessons and learning experiences we need in order to bring us to this point in our evolutionary process. Now it is time for all of us to take the next step.
And so the next step will be us calling upon these wonderful solar light beings, specifically from our grand central sun. Grand central sun. We will again play the prayer. It's going to be the same prayer that we started this meeting with. It is the prayer to the sun. It is called the Sunrise Prayer by Douglas Spotted Eagle. And that's exactly what it was. And so when we go deep within the heart, and then we will chant Om with Yogananda. And we will chant Om with Yogananda for about 3 minutes. Please do chant your Oms. Don't just listen, because the Om sound is a sound that restores perfection in your life. It is the most healing sound you can actually use to fix what's broken by simply chanting Om. And that doesn't mean, maybe you don't want to fix anything in your life or improve anything, but this world will benefit from your Oms. And so let us start with that beautiful solar prayer. Again, I'm going to show a beautiful picture here of the grand central sun. And just go deep within, listening to these beautiful Native American words and a chant to the sun.
Ushunoko ahote. Ushunoko anani a. I tweddi be ataha khoshiado. Shalchine nishonago datanosil. Shalchine nishonago bagayad. Nishonago shensekiesto. Nishonago shizad alnodo. Shilaja vajun benashado. Shikiete vajun benashado. Sitsitlalte vajunto. Shikitlalte vajunto. Altsmode vajun benashado. Vajun bedenstedo. Vajun nashado lil. Vajun hastling. Vajun hastling. Vajun hastling. Vajun hastling.
And now we will chant Om to call upon the great ones, specifically again, the great ones from the Grand Sun. And so join me with a deep inhale. And let us receive this beautiful response, transmission from the beings from the Grand Sun. When we ask, we shall receive. And so if that sounds right to you, and it also is your heart's desire, let us receive impulses, inspiration for creating our new civilization under one love, one for all, and all for one. And just breathe it in through your multidimensional spine, because it is our receiving device, it is our antenna. And when our heart is open and our spine is extended all the way to the absolute, we can receive this information from our source, the Grand Sun. And so it is. Beautiful. And so what will be unfolding here on planet Earth? One thing that is really important is starting to remember the incredible spiritual function of the sun. And that the sun is not just necessity for our physiology, but that the sun is necessity for our divinity. And that this one sun is a central sun for us. And it is part of 12 suns within the world, the system of the worlds that we are part of. And that these suns communicate with each other. They communicate with each other. And what happens is that they transmit information to each other. And so our sun every day has new information to transmit to us. Now, I felt that it was really important to go to an ancient site outside of St. Louis, which is in Missouri. This is the ancient site, what, archaeologists think that it looked like. And the name of this ancient site next to the Mississippi River is Cahokia. But I'm pretty certain that it was not called Cahokia before. So when the colonizers came to the US, that obviously was not the US, but to North America, sorry, just to correct myself, then they found that the Native American people were living at Cahokia, but they told them that they didn't build it. And so this is actually an ancient Atlantean site, very similar to what you would find in ancient Egypt. And it was destroyed by the flood, of course. And so what you see today are just these mounds. So it's called Cahokia Mounds in Illinois, outside of St. Louis. And so you can climb up the mount. And this was, again, the names today, it doesn't even matter. They call it the Monk's Mound. And so we visited with Ara and Emmy, the Monk's Mound. We climbed up, we did meditations, and we did all the work. And then we went to this very important circle, which, they call it something similar to Stonehenge. And so we sat in the circle and we did our meditations. And what was revealed to us was pretty incredible. So this is where it is. The circle is here on the left. Again, I would say that this site actually deserves so much more attention. Why go to these ancient sites and connect with the spirit of the earth? It is not so much to learn about the civilization itself, but it is actually connecting to the spirit of the land. Ancient civilizations, when they were still aligned with cosmos, they studied cosmos, not necessarily through technology like we have today, but through consciousness. And so they knew the movement of stars, of the systems, of constellations. They knew the movement of our own galaxy, even the movement of our universe within cosmos. And so why did they study it? They studied all these cyclical movements because they wanted to know when there is the perfect portal, we call it portal, that opens for a certain possibility. So for example, a portal opens around the earth during the solstice. And we have summer solstice, winter solstice. And so it's important to know when is the portal open so that we can receive information, light, directly from the grand sun, or at least from the great central sun. And so this is the reason why our ancient civilizations actually tracked cosmos. They wanted to know when these portals are. Same with ascension portals. When is the opportunity for a civilization as a whole to ascend? Which we, of course, have these civilizations that completely disappeared. You know, they disappeared into higher realms because they ascended. And so also they built their civilization not just randomly like it is today. They were looking for the spirit of the land. And where the spirit is strong, a strong civilization would be working with the spirit of the land. And I don't mean just some kind of imaginary spirit, I mean a real planetary energy. We call it the dragon lines. And so in this case, the dragon line is very present, but of course, not at all utilized in any way by our civilization. But it's important to reconnect in consciousness, just so that we know. We will be moving forward, of course, not with the old, but with the new. And it will be important to learn how to again take care of this planet that serves as a beautiful existential plane that is a conscious being, the planetary logos, that allows us to experience our own consciousness in action, where we get to experience embodiment, which means we are individualized beings who get to co-create with cosmos, with the creator. And so we do need these existential planes, whether they are physical or non-physical. You can also have, of course, non-physical planets, especially in our solar system. We have planets that we don't know about because they are on the non-physical plane. We can call it higher vibrational planets. So when we work with a planet, we want to get to know where she has her most potent energies. And that's where we want to be to thrive. And of course, there will be so many of them, many of these spots around the world. So at Cahokia, it's the site of the yellow dragon. This yellow dragon you can absolutely meditate with, and you will encounter this yellow dragon. And sorry, I'm just gonna and commune with the yellow dragon. Of course, this yellow dragon doesn't come out of the earth. It is within the earth and quite actually, I wouldn't call it sad, but simply not used to communion anymore. So we do want to go to these places to commune. So after we encountered the yellow dragon within the earth, we also found, you know, these different drawings from the Mississippian civilization, and they had the drawings of the yellow dragon, or there was a myth of the Cahokian dragon in the Mississippi River. So you can always find, you know, these things that they actually were, of course, known by the native or ancient people. The other being that we connected with, and this is also interesting for how we're going to move forward in our civilization, is the being referred to in the Egyptian tradition as Thoth, Thoth as the bird god. But actually, again, you know, that would be not sufficient to think of Thoth as a bird god. We again received some information in Cahokia to look beyond all of this. So this was an ancient Atlantean site. So Thoth had many different names in Atlantis, and he was actually considered to be the teacher of the civilization for all of Atlantis. He was teaching the initiation path through the physical body and how to be a divine human being. Now, Thoth himself was not a human being. We had, of course, always interaction with beings that came as guardians from the stars, and they were bringing knowledge. For example, all around the world, you will encounter many different celestial beings who are coming to humanity to assist with building of advanced civilization. Advanced not in terms of technology, but actually advanced in terms of consciousness. And that also means organization, how to organize our civilization, how to come together as one humanity, how to thrive all around the world, how to share, how to produce if necessary, how to connect to the divine through our physical body. So all of this knowledge was often taught by the beings coming from other star systems. For example, in South America, you surely heard about Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl, as the serpent with wings, again, a dragon, was teaching human beings how to become civilized, and not just civilized in terms of behavior, but how to build a civilization. and how to use the body to actually be a tool for the divine. So surprisingly, Thoth was very, very present at Cahokia. Now that was a surprise, but not a surprise when we learned that the Cahokians actually had tablets. And the tablets often depicted the bird man. And they even found one of the mounds was actually like a burial site where they buried someone and they made the person look like a bird man. So again, it just shows us, but again, we want to go back, even to the Atlantean times to be able to fully understand. Now, many of you have been building spirals with us, and I do believe we at least built many hundreds of spirals all around the world. This is really important because the spiral of evolution is happening within us all. It is happening within our physical body right now. We will be working with this also during this lunar cycle, and then as we move forward, to meditate upon the spiral within your own being, within your own body, and how this spiral moves from the base of the spine, and it moves up around the central column of the spine, and it is ever expanding spiral that expands beyond the physical body into the non-physical realms of existence. For example, the Sufi dervishes, Rumi, famous Sufi poet, teacher really, they use twirling to activate the spiral within. Right now, I don't think it is essential to twirl, but again, it's just to show you that, of course, our ancient people knew about the spiral within. The spiral can be initiated within the physical body, and when it is initiated, it comes through the body, through all the chakras, all the way beyond the body, into the causal plane, through all the planes, through all the chakras, and it connects you to the absolute. So I do recommend doing your spiral meditation. We were so used to saying Kundalini is a dormant serpent within us, but actually when Kundalini is fully activated, it is not a dormant serpent, it becomes a dragon within us. And so we become the dragon. We become the ascended serpent. And that is our destiny right now. Even our beautiful Divine Mother Sophia is often shown as a cosmic spiral. And this is from the Gnostic tradition, the spiral that creates worlds. Now, today I received actually, I would say, a task that I shared with some of you. And that was specifically today, during this day, if it's not too late for you, to create a spiral that will have 144 stones plus the central stone, or 144 rose petals. Or you can draw the spiral with 144 dots. It doesn't have to be complicated. My husband and I, we built the spiral here at Mount Shasta today with 144 rocks plus the central sun. And so why? It is because, again, we are bringing heaven to earth. And what it means, bringing heaven to earth simply means human beings, once again, understand cosmic consciousness. Once again, we are informed by cosmic Mother Nature. And so have fun with this. When you build a spiral, it's important to keep your mind in Om or in purity. What I find, Yogananda speaks about this galaxy that we are part of. And puzzlingly, he says somewhere in one of his texts that this galaxy has impurity in it. Now, you would think, how can that be? How can there be impurity in a galaxy? To me, a creator being must be in complete purity, inside purity, internal purity, which is purity of the mind, the higher mind, of course, purity of intent, purity of feeling nature, so that the creation is pure as well. Everything's a reflection. So I will find the quotes he actually speaks about the galaxy and how this galaxy has impurity in it. So imagine, since all these creator beings who are in charge of creating these big solar systems, they are in charge of creating galactic systems, they are even in charge of creating universal system. What if the fall happened within the creator being and there was impurity? Even if it's just one thought of impurity, and it didn't have to be a big one, then the galaxy itself would contain that one seed of impurity. And as you know, we have been actually dealing with some so-called fallen beings within this galaxy. And you know all of that from Patricia's story about the brothers and sisters from the fallen worlds. And so when we create, we want to create an absolute love, an absolute purity. And what I find is very useful is to be just chanting Om and connecting with your heart. And as you hold, for example, the rocks or the crystals or whatever it is you're building with, pine cones, rose petals, when you hold these in your hand, just know that your palms emanate the love of your heart. So the love of your heart coming into your hands. And so pretty much, let's quickly go through here. I don't want to keep you here too long, but we'll continue tomorrow. You know, these are the images that NASA now posted about the spiral that they could actually photograph. This was the birth of a star. We are always talking really about the perfect mathematics of creation, and the spiral being the Fibonacci spiral. At Cahokia, we were asked by the yellow dragon to build a beautiful, just very simple yellow spiral made of yellow corn. So we did that. And this is important. When you connect with the planetary energy, you are in a relationship. No longer is it just, oh, give me information, give me knowledge, and then walking away. It is more coming in really humbly, so in humility, and then kind of, you know, asking for the permission to receive if there is anything to receive, anything you can work on, help with, you know, and then bringing, and it doesn't have to be gifts. We call it offering. So we asked the yellow dragon what the yellow dragon wanted, if anything, and it was creating a yellow spiral with yellow corn, which again was not surprising. And Nova is asking if we can play the final meditation again. So Nova, was it the one with invoking the central spiritual sun with Cobra? Okay, okay. And so we'll see if we have, of course, time here. I don't want to keep you here too long, but that one with Cobra is always online, and you can download it also in your iMusic from iTunes also. And I guess this was really it. And so, yes, being in a relationship, being in a loving relationship of gifting and giving. People often these days talk about, you know, the new economy and the new currency and all of that. I would say that maybe there's going to be some digital stuff happening in the meantime, but the ultimate goal of Divine Mother, and that's what she shared, is no need for currency. Because what currency does, it always will create debt. And it's not that, you know, it's immediately obvious how that works. But if we give value to something in terms of giving it an assigned value, and then we say something is more valuable than the other thing, then even an exchange system would actually create debt. That means if I give you an apple and then I say, can I have your car? You will laugh and say, well, that's not at all what an apple is worth or a car is worth. But that again creates that debt. And so again, it creates the need for, you know, assigning value to something. So I want to speak it into being what the design that Divine Mother spoke about actually is. It is a system in which the planetary civilization, meaning humanity, perceives everyone and everything as a family, and that includes animals. Family. And I think our native people, they really, you know, had this relationship to call it, you know, the four-legged ones to be the family as well. And it's important to extend our love to all that is. And when we all know that everyone here is a family in the body of the Great One, we are in the body of the Great One, then if this world, it doesn't matter how many of us here, knows that this is a family, so the way that it was shown to me is like a family house. So the planet is our house, it's our home. So just like it is in your home, if you have children and grandchildren, you surely have a pantry or a fridge. And now there's food. And so the children come and they just take what is in the fridge, right? And it's like there is no value. They don't have to like give us something for that. They just take it and then we replenish it together. Take it, replenish it. And so there was something that Divine Mother pointed at, and that would be the planetary pantry. And everybody in consciousness is actually always incredibly also responsible for replenishing together, giving, sharing together, gifting together. So it's just a different way of thinking about things. And I know that one day we will be in a gifting economy, which is everybody actually shares everything. And so, Nova, if you want to do the meditation with Cobra, it is from an album that Cobra created. And I do believe that it's called the Goddess Spiral. Goddess Spiral Meditation. And so if you go to Google, you will find Goddess Spiral Meditation with Isis and Cobra. And you can either listen for free or get it from like iTunes. And so we will close with that meditation. And even though here in this meditation we are calling upon the central sun, we can today very safely go all the way to the grand sun. And the reason for that is, once again, when Cobra recorded this, it was when the grand sun was not really available to us so easily. But now we can call upon the grand sun. So please join me. It is a 12-minute meditation and focus on calling upon the grand sun and the beings from the grand sun to assist us in building a civilization under one love, one for all and all for one.
And now we are ready for the second part of our journey, deeper into the unknown dimensions of the final liberation of the planet. We are going to create a vortex of liberation, a vortex of perfect balance and harmony between male and female polarities, an instrument of divine intervention on planet Earth. Allow yourself to open, to receive this blessing of intervention from above, and visualize a pillar of brilliant white light coming from the galactic central sun, descending through your body into the center of the earth. Brilliant white light emerging from the sky, going through you towards the center of the earth. Brilliant white light connecting heaven and earth. And you are aware and awake, and you feel that presence around you. Brilliant white light streaming powerfully from the galactic center into every cell of your body, every emotion, every thought of your being, and expanding further towards the center of the earth. You are the anchor of that light, the anchor of that mighty galactic presence. And you can visualize or feel or experience tiny little rainbow stars of liquid light scattered within this pillar of light. And as they become brighter and brighter, they activate the pillar of light. And as they do so, that pillar begins to rotate clockwise. And you are the presence of no time, the presence of eternal now, in the center, in the axis of that pillar of light. You are the stargate. You are the doorway. And from the innermost chamber of your heart, you can feel or visualize or experience a vortex of light forming, rainbow light. And that vortex of rainbow light is expanding. As it rotates, it is expanding outwards in all dimensions, in all directions, everywhere around you. You can feel that vortex of rainbow light rotating clockwise, together with the pillar of light, expanding outwards through your room, through your city or village, through your country, throughout the planet. And you can feel the presence, you can feel the waves upon waves of liquid light currents of that vortex of rainbow colored light, expanding from your heart in all directions around the planet, activating and calling upon other points of light. You can feel that vortex of rainbow light calling upon the presence of all the ascended masters, all your spiritual guides, all the angels. And they are responding and connecting with you right now. And you can feel that rainbow vortex of light calling and awakening your soul family incarnate right now on planet Earth. Your soul brothers and soul sisters that came together with you thousands and thousands of years ago to this planet to assist in the liberation process. And now your vortex of rainbow colored light is awakening them, calling upon them, and they are responding and connecting with you. And you can feel that rainbow vortex of light calling your soulmates and your twin souls around the planet. And they are waking up and responding and connecting with you. And as your rainbow vortex rotates, it connects with other points of light, with other vortexes, with other beings of light throughout the planet. And together we are creating a planetary network of light. And you can feel or visualize or experience that planetary network of light activating, pulsating with life, expanding throughout the planet. And as you breathe in the essence of that network of light into your heart. And as you breathe out the essence of your heart to the whole network of light. And you keep breathing like that. And each breath you take, you go deeper and deeper. And you can feel the whole planetary network of light pulsating within your body. You are becoming an embodiment of that liquid light. And just surrender to that breath. And you go deeper and deeper into the one. And as you keep breathing like that, all of the ascended masters are with you. All of your spiritual guides are with you. All the angels are with you. Your whole soul family is with you. Your soulmates are with you. Your twin soul is with you. You are breathing with the whole creation, together as one. And as you keep breathing, you can feel the pulse of the galactic central sun flowing through you, speaking to you in the language of light, awakening you, preparing you for the event. Your body and your soul are anchors for the event. Your body and your soul are pure channels of the presence of the galactic central sun, right now, right here on planet Earth. Every cell of your body is emanating that presence of the galactic central sun in all directions. You are anchoring, you are grounding the pulse of the galactic central sun. And you are aware and awake and present in perfect balance of male and female, of goddess and god, united forever, never to be separated again. You are goddess and god alive. And slowly, you are becoming aware of your physical surroundings. You are becoming aware of the sounds around you, of how it feels for your feet to touch the ground. And yet at the same time, you are still the anchor of the pulsating light from the galactic central sun. And you slowly open your eyes and begin to see the world around you. And the light that you see is the light of the galactic central sun.
And so now we know, let there be light, how it all works. I will just share one more thing, which I think might be important as we work with these solar energies. So here, we heard Cobra speak about the vortex. So what I learned from Cahokia, when they had this Stonehenge, but really in this case, at this point, made out of wood, at the central pillar, the center, you see here on the left, the center of the circle was a pillar. And they said that some of these pillars could be even 40 feet tall. So what I saw is that during solstice and during equinox, the energy would spiral down from source. And again, it's an opening, it's a portal during these specific moments of the planet and solar system. And then the energy would spiral down and it would spiral into the land, into the dragon energy. So it's pretty incredible to think of yourself as the pillar, which is now your fifth dimensional spine, of course, that is now bringing through you these high energies into this world. And so thank you so much. And remember, I am that I am is a very powerful mantra to move forward with. We will be meeting tomorrow, again, 11 a.m. Pacific and 5 p.m. Pacific, to look at what Yogananda saw as the evolution of the earth. So thank you so much. Many blessings.